And I agree with Senator Cheruioyot, Mr. Speaker, that apart from giving statistics and figures, Mr. Speaker, on the business that is before them. You know, Mr. Speaker, if you're not careful, as a chairperson of a committee or as a member of this House, Mr. Speaker, you can easily become a conveyor belt, because Parliament is blessed with very competent staff, Mr. Speaker, who can barely do anything and everything that you ask of them, such that you're just left as a member of Parliament to come and read what has been prepared of you, you know, and have a seat, go home. Mr. Speaker, we listened this afternoon, for example, just because I don't intend to be long on this particular point, to statements by the Committee on Health, Committee on Budget and Finance, and the Committee on Energy, Mr. Speaker. And they have told us the businesses that have been presented before them, what it is that they are considering, what they have concluded. Perfect. And I agree with them completely. But the further question, which Senator Cheruioyot is asking, and which I agree with him, and perhaps is a question of many of the senators that are before the House this afternoon, Mr. Speaker, is what is their response to emerging issues, Mr. Speaker? I say this, Mr. Speaker, because Parliament must rise over and above the statutory provisions of Parliament. Just makes laws, it represents. I believe, Mr. Speaker, that Parliament is a body that is alive. They know the challenges that ordinary Kenyans continue to face. Mr. Speaker, we cannot be consuming 40 billion of taxpayers' money each and every financial year, Mr. Speaker, just to dispense and, you know, share certain information that we continue to receive from different quarters, Mr. Speaker. And I say this with tremendous respect. I congratulate our chairpersons. It's never easy to lead a committee of Parliament. Hats off to Senator Roba, leading our Budget and Finance Committee, the committee that has produced the most bills in this House, Mr. Speaker, and some of them very difficult. So when we say this, Senator Roba, is not out of a lack of appreciation of the kind of hard work that our chairpersons put in the work. But we say this because we want to make our committees better, Mr. Speaker. I have said this before this House, Mr. Speaker, and I continue to speak, that Senator Roba, if you read PFM regulations, regulation number 25, and God granted us a very good opportunity, Mr. Speaker, in the fact that we have a speaker who's a former governor, we have a chair of Budget and Finance who's a former governor, Mr. Speaker, and he understands the provisions of regulation number 25. That, Mr. Speaker, unfortunately, there is not one county government out of all the 47 that are in compliance with this regulation that demands of them that 65% of the resources that we devolve via Kara in this House, Mr. Speaker, goes on to recurrent, and 35% at development budget, Mr. Speaker. Many of them actually are doing below 10%. We cannot continue to sit and be the House that oversights county governments, yet do not demand from each of the 47 governors, Mr. Speaker, to file a recovery plan. This continuous business of receiving excuses, oh, we inherited, I don't know, stuff that are expensive from the defunct municipalities and all these stories. That's nonsense, Mr. Speaker, because we know for a fact that each of the successive sessions of the last 3 county governments, Mr. Speaker, hire new staff. These are the staff that are continue to consume a lot of money, Mr. Speaker. You see how governors operate, Mr. Speaker. That's why it's becoming expensive. Mr. Speaker, we are back to 2013 all over again. And I'm sorry to say this. You know, you remember when devolution came, Mr. Speaker, and I will excuse yours truly, Governor Mandago, Governor Roba, that perhaps you behave better, Mr. Speaker, or it's debatable to the people of Kilifi, Mandera, and Uasin Gishu. But you remember when devolution came, Mr. Speaker, that we had little gods in the names of governors who used to walk with all manner of retinue, one carrying the chair, another one carrying water for the governor, another whistling people to move out of a VIP toilet. Unfortunately, we are back there again, Mr. Speaker, because we have allowed them. We have allowed county governments to spend in excess of 75% on recurrent. Yes. That's the money that is being wasted, Mr. Speaker. And therefore, I expect when each of our committees begin to file their reports, Senator Roba, in this next quarter that you're considering, demand when COG appears before you, let them place a recovery plan and let us know that, okay, there's a unique problem in a particular county. I know, for example, let me even give the example of my own county. Kericho, Mr. Speaker, used to be the municipality headquarters that now serves 2 counties. And therefore, many of the staff that used to serve the municipalities that were in Cheruioyot and Bomet, most of, if not all of those staff were left in our county.